To hear past episodes of the Rap Radar podcast, what they got to do, B-Dot?
You got to sign up for TIDAL at TIDAL.com/on-air.
Yeah, that'll get you a 90-day complimentary membership.
Access to 50 million tracks and 200,000 videos.
TIDAL.com on air. Yeah, Rap Radar podcast, Elliot Wilson.
It's B-Dot.
B-Dot, what's up, baby?
Hall of Fame.
Huh?
Hall of Famed out.
You Hall of Famed out right now?
I mean, we are Hall of Famed out.
Because we got the next inductee into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, what's
Mr.
up?
Jermaine Dupri.
Jermaine Dupri, what up, JD?
What's going on? What's happening?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
So Jigga set the tone, and now you coming in with that Songwriter Hall of Fame?
Yeah. I mean, you know, pretty
for
big.
us hip
It's
hop
pretty
people,
big.
for our people.
I mean,
Right.
it's pretty big. It's pretty big for hip hop. You know, they've been looking at hip hop a little strange, like we wasn't writing, and you gotta be 20 years deep in order to even get into the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
A lot of people don't even understand that. So, you know, you got to be writing songs for 20 years plus to actually become, you know, a nominee to even get in. So,
Do you have to submit, or is it, how does
nah,
it
they
process?
do. They do it basically. They submit it, but like I said, you have to be writing for like 20 years.
Wow.
You know.
So did you know you were up for it? Were you following the process? Or
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, they did the nomination, so I got nominated. So I was happy about that. I wasn't really thinking I was going to get in. I just was happy to be nominated. And I think I was nominated with, like, NWA and Mariah was, like, NWA and Mariah were, like, the headliners of who was nominated this time. So, you know, I was just like, you know, I'm happy to be nominated. That means they thinking about me. I probably get in, you know, down the road. You know, they keep, you know, if they push me to the side like D-Dot. You know what I mean?
My God.
B-Dot doing what? You pushing him?
I never pushed Jermaine Dupri to the side, man. Come on.
Well, we did have a Rap Radar podcast before with JD. What was the issue? This is round 2. It's people that follow
We have a
Rap Radar
lot to talk
podcast.
about. We're just going to dive right in.
One
No,
title
yeah,
now.
we leave that
No, but
alone.
were you aware of, was that always a goal? Like when Jay got it last year, were you aware of like, oh, that's something that's dope for hip hop and that's something I would like to get? Were you aware that that was something we could achieve, like a Grammy?
I never thought it was like something I could get. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but I wasn't thinking that. You know what I mean? I was just thinking that I'm gonna get in the Hall of Fame. I just didn't. You know, I wasn't.
That's
thinking
why
like
you was dumb happy. Like you put that video up, you had the hoodie.
Right.
Up.
Oh yeah, I mean it's really. I was on my patio at the studio, but it was really nothing else to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just happy. I'm just happy about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people don't really understand what it is that I actually do. I write songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not just like the beat maker. I actually make the beat, but then I go write the full song to the beat. So I think that's where this hit, you know, it struck home with me, because it's like this is the one time where people have to really pay attention to that. Like, you got to pay attention to the fact that I'm not just a beat maker. I write these full songs. A lot of times people don't even. I even seen it. I seen when like the press was coming out, people still was like trying to say it in a way like they didn't really get it. Like somebody said, he co-wrote Usher's something song, right? And like these songs, You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow. Yeah. I wrote these songs 100%. Like it's not no, you know what I mean? Like, and people like, I don't think people really understand that. Right. So it's just like this award really like just
it validates.
It validates that for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say about validation, because you never seem to be the type to want awards or plaques, even though those are nice. But do you feel like this is the pinnacle of your career?
Yeah, because it's a songwriter's. I mean, it's a songwriter's award. I heard last year that Berry Gordy. I heard his speech when he won last year, and Berry Gordy said that they called him for 6 years in a row, telling him he was nominated.
Wow.
In the first year,
Berry Gordy.
In the first year,
Motown, all hits.
The first year they called him, he was like all excited, like me, probably screaming.
Yeah.
And they said, "Nah, you didn't get inducted, but we nominated you." Then they called him the second year. He got excited again. He like, nah, and it went on for
Susan Lucci
for like 5-6 years.
Berry Gordy.
That's what I'm saying. That's another reason why I was like, nah, I'm like,
you can't get your hopes
I'm like,
up,
I'm gonna get my hopes up. So he was like, last year they called, his assistant called him like, hey, Songwriters Hall of Fame, they want you to come, and he was like, I'm not falling for this time, and they finally inducted him. So, that being said, that award to him was like the most. You know, the pinnacle of his career, because that's how we started. I started songwriting, you know?
Yeah. By building crisscross. Do you think part of it is because you sort of ride in that intersection of hip hop and R&B, so that people don't really, give you a credit enough in either area sometimes?
Nah, I think it's because of what we talked about the last time I came to see you. It's not really a bunch of people that do this.
It's the critics.
You know what I mean? It's like in hip hop, people talk more about what's duplicated a number of times as opposed to the separation, right? I think even like as Hove has moved away from people, it's not about him being away from the culture. It's just he's one of one, and it ain't nobody else doing it. So people start trying to they start turning their shoulder to it. You know what I'm saying? And I only bring this up because I heard the Steve Stout interview that you did, and even with Steve, what he was saying when he said something about me like Jermaine Dupri. And I was like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. But I had to try to understand it. And at the end of the day, it's the same. It's like me and the track masters are not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they dope and they do what they do.
Yeah.
But I create artists from scratch and write the lyrics. Like, I don't know who the track masters did that for. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where the separation starts.
They were able just to create magic with a Nas and people.
Yeah, it's just
like that.
if somebody else already existing artist, right? So when y'all was having that conversation, I'm like, my name don't really even fit in that. You can't really put that. You got to find somebody that does what I do to really say, battle this person.
Who do you, I guess, compare yourself to? If there's
Pharrell is a guy that writes songs and the beats and do that. You know what I mean? Like that would be somebody that, and he don't care about this shit either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I saw you and him recently was like some kind of fancy. What was the thing?
Yeah, look, he said something. We was at the most expensive horse race in the United States.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't disrespecting dodgy caption.
No. What I'm saying, nah. Yeah, but I mean,
like coming out the vegan spot.
Yeah,
like he had a very nice.
Nah. I was asking Pharrell. I was like, yo, when you gonna battle Timberland?
Right.
Like, what's going on with these battles, right?
You wanna get
He's
in
like,
there.
man, I ain't doing that shit. And I'm saying, like, Pharrell is like the guy to me. I would want to see battles somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it ain't really a bunch of us. Like, it's a lot. Even in today's hip hop, it's more beat makers than it is songwriters.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, that's why I'm excited about this, because I don't see nobody on the charts right now that's gonna follow what I'm doing.
And I think production, especially in hip hop, is changing. I think, like you said, you were unique because you were really crafting the songs from beginning to end for these artists that you were developing.
Yeah.
And I think you went through an era of dope beat makers and Premier would scratch ideas into a hook, and then someone like Pharrell and Swizz come along and they'll give you a track and they'll have like an idea for a hook. So then that started changing production. But like I said, you always took it a step further of creating the whole song. So
I mean, like I said, it's just like even with the money and the thing as you was playing it, I think I said this before, when me and Jay was creating that song, if he would have never said, I'm deep in the South kicking up top game, that song would have been something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even because, I mean, the money and the thing wasn't what I was attracted to. I was attracted to the line prior to that.
Validated the South.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he just was like, let's go in this direction of the money and the thing part. I was on the deep in the South kicking up top game. Like, you're talking about right here. So that's it's just like a songwriting thing.
Yeah. So that's like your most undeniable hip hop moment, though, I think, because you sound great on the track against one of the top lyricists, and you go line for line on that record.
Oh, thank you.
So what's the secret to good songwriting? Is there a secret?
Yeah, it's a secret. I mean, a incredible hook, hooks with inside the verse. These are things that you should think about when you're writing a song. Like, take for instance Hip Hop Hooray, right? When I don't know who wrote it, Tretch or whoever, Vinny, whichever
Probably
one of them
Tretch.
wrote it from scratch. But when they created that song, they thought about the hook off the top, right? When you got
the call and response.
Immediately.
Right.
You're going down the road of having a hit song.
Anthem.
You're creating. That's a writing pattern that a lot of times I have big songs and I try to get away from that, because like when I created Jump, I was like, damn, okay, I don't know if I don't know how to do this again. You can't make, bounce, stomp, whatever it is, right? You can't. You could try. People do that, but I was just I was just trying to avoid being that guy that was like trying to duplicate his one hit record and probably couldn't do it. So, but I did know that I had to have a hook. So then my second hook after Jump that I was focused on was Escape, and it was the kick off your shoes, relax your feet, party on that. Like the way that hook is, I knew that in my world of hip hop where I came from, and these girls were singing R&B, it was gonna be like a, wait a minute. Is that what are they saying?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like an old school hip hop thing, but they don't even know it.
Yeah,
like
but and a lot of people don't. Still today, people probably don't pay attention to that's a Run DMC line in Escape record, and that's all just writing. You just start getting into that. I just start figuring out, and then I had people talking telling me that I wasn't gonna do it again. So then I had to, and they were telling me, when I met L.A. Reid. He told me that my records needed bridges and to break the monotony of things that was happening. So then I started understanding what a bridge was. If you listen to like Jump, it's no search. Well, I guess some of them try to rhyme, but they can't rhyme like us. That's kind of like a bridge part.
But it wasn't as developed.
Yeah, it wasn't as developed. Yeah. And then in Just Kicking It, it's no bridge, I guess, besides my breakdown. So it was a different thing like breakdown and bridges and this, that, and the third. But I had people start telling me, like, you need to do this and you need to do that. So I really started paying attention to it. And you once you start paying attention to it, you really honestly realize, yes, it's a formula to making songs, period. And then if they become hits, then they just...
But what about some of the songs you were creating where you started mastering the bridge part? Was that more Usher type stuff? Like, where bridges come? Like, what stands out to you as something where...
Yeah, Usher bridges, like say, for instance, in Nice and Slow, musically, I started creating bridges, like putting the rock guitar solo in Nice and Slow, right? That hadn't been heard since the Isley Brothers, as far as new artists doing that, putting rock guitars into R&B records. So that was like our bridge. It wasn't a breakdown. It was like a bridge to take us to the next spot. And that's what I was trying to do. So that was like the first example of me trying to get to that space.
What about like hooks? Like mentioning, the importance of it. Like, is there a thin line between cheesy and quality? Because it seems like a lot of songs that do become hits, sometimes they might have a cheesy hook to them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, hook is a hook. I think that, I think we make it cheesy. You know what I mean? Because how we feel about the artist or how we feel about the record, period. But, I mean, a hook is a hook. Ain't really, I mean, like I was this Desperado, right? That's a song.
Despacito?
Despacito. Okay. Like that song, right? That's all I remember.
It was also in Spanish for the most part.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the melody of that is just very like, that's quick. That's a hook. I don't know nothing else about the rest of the song. Just Despacito. That's it, right? With that being said, that's a perfect example of, can't touch this. Hook immediately, right? If you don't like Hammer, you don't care about, you don't leave the place without knowing what the name of that song is. And that's really the whole key to songwriting.
We did the whole list on TIDAL. I think you approved it of the Pen Game, some of your biggest records. Like, what is your like top 3 you think that you're most proud of that you think that if it really had to represent you as this member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, that like some of your best work?
I definitely would say Money Anything is there. I feel like You Make Me Wanna by Usher, because it was the turning point of his career to make people actually really pay more attention to him.
Because they forget how he struggled in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I have to say Jump, just because that's where, and I wrote Jump in 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
Clearly. Like the entire song, I made the beat, and I was like, I wanted to finish that song so bad I couldn't even get it out as fast as I was trying to, like, because I had like a little 4-track and I was like recording and making the beat at the same time, but I felt like it was such a record. And I didn't even have nobody to rap the song, really. Criss was just like, I didn't know if this was for them, right? At that particular point in time, I just knew that this song had to come out.
What inspired it?
Watching people jump around at shows. You know what I mean?
That era 92 was a lot of the
that's what was going on at the shows.
Jump around, all that.
But that wasn't out yet. Though.
Oh wow,
House of Pain wasn't out yet. It was just what was happening. In the
was
atmosphere.
They Want Effects out before?
No.
Yeah, everything came after.
Yeah, everything came out right after that. So it was just like that was the vibe of the clubs and what was going on in the clubs, and
you wanted to create that moment.
Yeah, like Slam was out.
Yeah, Slam.
Onyx.
Yeah.
And you know how they was acting in their video, like they was wilding. Like that's what it was. It was like that type of atmosphere was going, energy, and I was just like, okay, maybe And I was at that time, hip hop was a copying type of thing at that and I was new. I was trying to get in, so I was just trying to fit in with whatever was going on with the culture.
Yeah. How long did it take for them to memorize the record?
Not long at all. That's what was my whole key to Crisscross. I was in the car with them one day and I was playing Ice Cube, and they had memorized the Ice Cube whole album, and I was like, y'all, these 11 and 12-year-olds, they singing Ice Cube like.
This is what, the America's Most Wanted or Death Certificate or
what album was this? Yeah, it was America's Most Wanted. Yeah. So they was singing this whole album. I'm like, how the fuck do y'all know these lyrics like this? Like this, not like. Yeah. Just knowing them, they're saying it with this right, they're
locked in.
Everything about it. And I'm like, okay, if I write these kids a song and they memorize my song the way they memorize an Ice Cube, we should be good. But I was thinking like it's gonna be tough because they don't see me as an Ice Cube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't even really know that I wasn't really a producer big enough to even change their mind at the time. But I got into their head to the point where they did memorize it enough to make a record to be like it.
Pete was asking me like, how did people view Crisscross? And I think a lot of times people forget, like, LL Cool J, these artists were young, they were like 16, but they were kind of viewed as man-childs. Where Crisscross was clearly kids. You rapped about school, you rapped about buses and stuff like that. Like that was groundbreaking that was treated with respect, right, in that era in hip hop.
I mean, it's funny because Crisscross was the first time I saw hip hop love you and then dislike you. And from I'm glad it was the beginning because that set me up to understand that that's what it is for the long run. Period. For real.
Because everybody was loving Jump.
Everybody was in love with Criss. Crisscross was performing at what is it? HOBs? No, what's the thing in New York?
Apollo.
No, what's the place where all the
SOBs?
Or the Tunnel SOBs.
You said tiny ass?
Oh, the Tunnel.
Oh, I thought you said tiny ass SOBs. I was like, whoa, okay, wait a minute.
We do business sometimes.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so SOBs, like they was performing in clubs like SOBs, right?
Yeah.
And they was performing. This was the bill: Cypress Hill, Dies Effects, and Crisscross.
Wow, that's a nice bill.
That's a real hip hop bill,
right? Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's a real. That's where Crisscross was at when people start talking about hip hop. I'm like, do y'all realize
what? Right into the fire.
Do you realize what these kids was doing? Like,
you had to stand next to the guys.
This was the real. They was in the real shit, right? Mm-hmm. But then when they became more successful than Cypress Hill and more successful than Dies Effects, then it became.
But it was backlash at the time.
Yeah.
By the second album.
Yeah, by the second album, it was like Crisscross. These guys are, It was that conversation of not being real hip hop and Jermaine Dupri not making real hip hop records.
And it wasn't based on any song or any movement or anything done.
No, it was just success. Yeah. It became a successful
success compared to other artists. Because a lot of times, I think also that part also, if you remember, the East Coast, we had this chip about we weren't selling records the same way. We couldn't go gold.
Yeah.
So here's Crisscross multi-platinums.
So it was, they just went through it, but they came clearly
also speaks
from,
to being outsiders, right? The whole idea of Atlanta, wasn't
but I mean,
force.
nobody thought about that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people wanted them guys. They was so into Crisscross, but then like when all the other little groups like Illegal and all these other artists didn't work, when they didn't work, then people was really like, fuck Crisscross. They going on tour with Michael Jackson. They ain't hip hop. Right. I'm like, man, come on.
So do you feel like you bounced back when you came out with Brat?
I feel like I just moved away from what people was trying to put on me. I just feel, and I wasn't really even worrying about that because Brat came after Escape, so I had went on my Escape tantrum and was breaking them, so I wasn't really even still locked into that, what was going on over here with the Crisscross thing. So when I came out with Brat, I didn't know what to expect because it was the first time y'all heard me rap on a record, right? And Brat was like, yo, you gonna rap, because I was always in the studio rapping with her. Keep your vocals on here. And I'm like, all right, whatever. We did it. And I didn't know what was gonna happen with that. I'm like, oh, this might be a disaster, people.
And you wrote Funkify the whole album,
for the most part, yes.
Yeah. The break single.
Yeah.
Okay. First female to go platinum.
Yeah.
So it has to be really rewarding too.
Yeah, 100%, because it was hard. You know what I mean? Like, I almost didn't sign Brat because females couldn't sell records. And when Chris Kelly, rest in peace, he called me and said, yo, we met this girl in Chicago named Brat. We think you need to check out. I told him on the phone, like, I'm not fucking with no female rappers because we trying to sell some records. We got to keep it moving. Yeah. And I was petrified of female rap. I didn't know what to do. Like, I ain't think that nobody was going to check for it or nothing like that. So, yeah, for us to get to that point, I definitely was excited about it.
What convinced you that? Was it something about her personality?
Yeah, her personality. She got in the car with me, and her attitude was just like, oh, if this is a female version, she act like me. Like, she was really, like, aggressive, but then she could really rap. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that she was really trying to spit bars as opposed to being, I guess, you know, no disrespect, but what we had seen from females before that. She wasn't about trying to cross over, sexy, and she wanted people to really be into her rapping. And she was like the first to me to usher this smoking weed everywhere you go type of attitude. Like, Brat was on that shit back then.
Right.
She was heavy on it. I had never seen I wasn't, you know, used to seeing girls act like that. So it was just a whole different thing. I was like, okay, well, if it don't work, you know, and at the same time, I'm the producer that has had so much success that a lot of times, sometimes I'm looking for a project to not work so that I can get respect from this guy.
You got the respect.
Well, here's, I think, part of the problem, though, too. I think that your big three hip-hop acts, as we get to Bow Wow, Criss Cross, the Bow Wow, they don't get respect that they deserve, right, to a certain aspect of it. So your big hip-hop success stories are also acts that, for whatever reason, the accomplishment and the statistics are there, right? So that makes it even more. The stats are there. Like, you put their numbers up.
I mean, I don't think it's just the artist, though. It's me. I mean, I remember one day that, like, because somebody asked me about Jay-Z with the Grammys thing, and I was telling them that, you know, it's a weird situation because I'm mad they let him sit there and didn't give him an award, but at the same time, I'm not mad because I sat there and didn't get mine either. So you know what I'm saying? But I remember when I was nominated for the Mariah Carey album, and I was in my hotel.
Emancipation.
Emancipation. And I had got to New York, and it was like we was thinking we was going to win this, that, and the third, and
this is the big one, album of the year.
The big one. Yep. And the guy Torre, right? He was doing an interview, and he told somebody that he never paid attention to a Jermaine Dupri record until We Belong Together.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, that's fucked up.
That's ridiculous.
Right? So I was just like, man, this is a guy that people was listening to about doing interviews. Like, he could really change your life if he say something crazy. Right. And he said something crazy, and I was like, damn, that's crazy, man. I must, you know, so sometimes I be going through it when I'm in the studio because I'm like, man, do I really put my elbow into this and make it what I think I can make it, or do I kind of hold back and try to make a record that don't do that so people give me a little bit more respect? I mean, I go through that. I have definitely.
But I saw even with the Grammys, you bigged up Bruno Mars and you wrote R&B, like exclamation point.
Oh, no, 100%. So because I don't think people understand it. I don't want people to get it twisted. Bruno Mars' album is 100% old R&B. 90s R&B. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he said. And when he came on the stage, he talked about Teddy Riley, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis, Babyface. He bigged up the producers that he was listening to get him to this point. And people still want to call it pop. That shit ain't pop. That's straight R&B music.
New Jack.
That's just in a different vessel. He don't look the way I look. He won't look like Bobby Brown. His hair you ain't got no Gumby. Whatever it is, it's still R&B. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that people understand that, because people was tearing R&B down at one point in time.
R&B dead. They still say that. They said R&B is dead.
Very much alive with Bruno Mars.
Right.
100%.
But are you conflicted because the hip hop side, like you see a Jay-Z or a Kendrick go against a Bruno Mars? Who are you secretly rooting for? Like, do you look at it differently? Like, this is great R&B and this is great hip hop, and where does
at the Grammys? I'm just happy that those three are even nominated. You know what I'm saying? Because like, it's tough for us. You know what I mean? I'm happy that these guys have made records that are even in that top 5 on that ballot. Yeah. I don't care which one win. I hope, you know, either one of them win. I feel like it continues to give me a chance to do what I got to do.
Right. Yeah. You tweeted that. You said you find it crazy that the corporate companies still act like they don't feel the difference of what hip hop does as a brand, what it does to a brand.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, this is what happens in New York is different than what happens in the rest of the world, right? I live in Atlanta, right? I've been living in Atlanta, representing Atlanta forever.
Right.
Screaming Atlanta, Atlanta, Atlanta. I don't have one deal with Coca-Cola. It's a brand that's in Atlanta.
Wow.
They are home base in Atlanta. We haven't done any business. Like nothing. Like you give me a print ad.
You never licensed one of the songs?
Nothing. I have not. You know, I'm just saying. I'm saying.
Meanwhile, you've had great relationships with mayors and stuff.
But I'm saying I've had people, other companies.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's just not. It's not fluent as. And I think I tweeted that based on something that probably happened to me.
Yeah, you said I think it was talking about Coachella being advertised.
Oh,
in Atlanta.
that's what it is. Now, Coachella last year, year before that was never advertised in Atlanta, Georgia. Beyonce gets on Coachella, and we got signs in Atlanta. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, Pharrell was on here last year. You know what I'm saying? Or the biggest show of life was The Chronic was on there. Dr. Dre and Tupac came out, and you know what I'm saying? That wasn't. It's just
a hologram.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, what made that change? I want to think that we're moving forward, but at the same time, I just feel like companies still are doing this with hip hop. They're like.
And overall in hip hop, do you think, as much as people say now, obviously Atlanta's been so dominant since 2005, and like, you know, it's not about like you have to be New York to be established, but at the same time, do you feel like still Atlanta doesn't fully get its respect?
No, I don't think that. I think Atlanta's getting all of the respect. I don't think that corporate has taken Atlanta serious yet. I think corporate still looks at Atlanta as what people want to call as mumble rap. You know, I mean, I think you see Migos, they have a TNT commercial. They got, you know, they getting more and more stuff that I see for them, but I mean, it's still, you know,
dismissing it kind of more
like,
trendy.
Usher's
kind of
from Atlanta. What big, super big commercials do Usher? I mean, I'm just saying, I could pick anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of people that don't even have anything to do with me. I feel like it's coming, but where the game is right now for us, right? I don't feel like it's where it would be if this was New York hot. If this was New York hot, it'd be something completely different going on.
But you're also celebrating 25 years in the business this year, man.
Yeah.
So congratulations
on
that.
Thank you.
And you releasing a compilation or a concert? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm doing both. The compilation is one thing I've learned about my records is that I don't pay attention to all like going for back, but I started realizing that people were tweeting me about songs that they couldn't get, right? And it's things that's not on Apple, that's from So Def that people can't find. Yeah, all these sites, all the streaming sites, they just can't find them. So it's like, I was like, okay, well, that gives me opportunity. You know what I mean? It gives me opportunity to do something like the B-side with Brat and Biggie and myself.
Yeah, not on streaming.
It's not on the streaming sites, right? The first record that Kanye ever produced was Let's Get Married remix for Jagged Edge with his verse on there. It's on the vinyl.
Oh, before the Rev Run thing.
Before the Rev Run version came out, Kanye did a version.
Wow.
That's on the vinyl. That's on the B-side of that Run DMC version. That's not on streaming. I'm putting that on there. Like, it's a bunch of little things that, you know, that people didn't like. The remix of Welcome to Atlanta.
Right. Did we talk about the B-side? How did that come together? Brat and Biggie. Did we talk about that?
Well, we was on tour. The tour was.
That's an underrated dope collab with Brat and Biggie.
The we was on tour. It was Craig Mack, Brat, and Biggie Smalls on doing like these little, you know, the chicken circles or whatever, right? And like
that
9-4, time,
9-3, 9-4.
Yeah, at that time, Mac had the biggest record of the three.
Yep. Flavor Year.
Then Brat had the second biggest record with Funkified. And Biggie, people weren't really catching yet. They weren't on Juicy the way he wanted them to be on Juicy. So every day Big used to come in my room and be like, man, produce me, man. I need one of them joints like Honey got, man. That's all he kept saying. That's how he kept saying. He called Honey. I need one of them songs like Honey got, man. Let me get one of them. So me and him became really, really tight on this tour, and he was like, JD, I kept saying, man, you gonna make me and Puff have a beef because this you Puff artists, man.
Right, yeah.
So he was like, man, fuck that. I need a hit, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So time passed and Puff, allowed me to do the remix to Big Papa. Mm-hmm. When I did the remix to Big Papa, Big came to Atlanta to re-vocal the remix. And when he got there, he was like, we making a record with Honey. Where's she at? And Brett was living upstairs in my house at that time. So it was like, I called Brett downstairs, and he was like, make a beat. And I made the beat for B-side, and he started rapping. She started rapping. And I was like, that was another thing. It was like, how dope can you make a B-side, right? Mm-hmm. That used to be like my mind. Like, that was the thing. Like, people was making crazy B-sides, like something crazy. Like, I think Ice Cube had just came out with the B-sides and like shit that wasn't on one of his albums, right? Yep. So I was like, we gonna make a crazy B-side song that's just like people want to get their hands on. It might not be a single. We don't do no video. I was just that was my thought process. So
that was the vision.
Yeah, that was my vision. So we tried to make the dopest record that we could within like an hour.
And back and forth rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
And this is before he appeared in Honeys the Bratz video. And Give It to You.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
If I'm not, because that was the beginning of of us all having a real relationship. So it was like from that move, from me doing the remix, the B-side, then it was like Brat's third single off of her album. When I did a remix to Give It to You, I was just like, yo, we're gonna have everybody come down.
There's a lot of cameos in
there. Oh yeah, no, it was dope. It was amazing because it was like nobody was tripping about getting there. Everybody just wanted to be a part of it. Yeah.
You also mentioned Welcome to Atlanta remix.
Yeah.
Who was on that again? I forget.
Me, Puff, me, Puff, Snoop Dogg, and Murphy Lee.
Yeah. That video was hot too.
Yeah.
That's with every city, right?
Yeah. Puff was at the Garden. And,
That was crazy. Puff was standing on the top of the Garden. Snoop was standing on top of the record store that's in Long Beach. I did my part in front of Magic City in Atlanta, and then Murphy Lee did his part inside St. Louis. The baseball park, and was like the year that they had just won the World Series. Yeah. So it was a crazy video.
Yeah. Also took Lou Williams to Magic City.
Definitely. That's my guy. Yeah, Lou Williams. He's from the north side of Atlanta. Actually, where Bow Wow and Migos and all these guys is from that area. Yeah. And when he was in high school, me and Bow used to go see his games. And then when he got out of high school, he went to Philly. I think when he got out. I was DJing in Atlantic City, and this was the Blackjack time. He came to see me DJ in Atlantic City, and I taught him how to play blackjack in the little Atlantic City. And then he's just my homie. I took him out a couple of times. He came, because he was like he didn't make the All-Star team this year, they robbed him, but he didn't make the All-Star team like a couple of years ago when we was in Vegas. He came to see me in Vegas. He just my dude. Yeah. He just been,
He's trying to shine with the Clippers.
Yeah.
So how are you going to top the concert? Because the last concert was legendary. So how do you plan to
jig
outdo
out nobody
what
thought
you
he
did
could
5 years ago?
I think this time is really about now that people want to see it. I don't know if it's as much as me trying to top what we did on the 20th anniversary, as much as I think people want to see it now. It's people in different cities that didn't get opportunity to see it, and it's a lot of things that didn't happen on the 20th anniversary that can happen now. Like Escape is back together.
Are they?
Yeah.
I saw that they went on the road.
They are back.
Okay.
They back together. It's just that Candy was doing Broadway.
Oh, okay.
She went to do Broadway, and the girls weren't ready to stop. You know what I mean? Like what's going on with them is popping right now, and the rightful so they gotta let's keep it going if we can, right? And I feel because they coming back together as all four to do Essence Fest, so they basically are together. It's just Candy got her hustle, and you got to respect that and let her do what she got to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they had a good tour run or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
So it's like they sound like the records though.
Oh yeah. So they. I mean, to me, it was amazing because I'm like, damn. I signed y'all. That's crazy. First group I ever signed to my label, and y'all sound like this. Y'all still sound the way you sounded at my house. Like it was amazing to me. Them girls, and they always been like that. That's what I always said about Escape. Escape was the most singingest group I've ever heard. Like they could just sing they'll sing your ass under this table if that's what they did. It wasn't about how they dressed, it wasn't about how they looked. None of that was just about singing. But yeah, so them being back together and them going on tour to me, has created this. Oh, I hope. Well, that means I guess we're gonna see a So Def tour. So now people are talking about it. Prior to that, when we did the 20th, people didn't even think I could get Jay-Z to come perform with me. Like, people was like, yeah, you gonna have a show, but I bet you Jay don't come out. And I'm like, damn. Well, okay, well, I guess who am I then? What's going on? So now I don't have that who am I thing. It's people like, okay, I know you doing a tour. So I just think timing is everything, you know?
And speaking about Escape, like, you developed so many acts. Is it hard to develop acts today as it was back in those days?
Yeah, it is. Because the artists don't understand the weight. The artists don't understand the development. You know, I don't know if anybody, if y'all be watching Growing Up Hip Hop with me and Bow Wow, and the story on Growing Up Hip Hop is that, I be wanting Bow Wow to get right, because I feel like Bow Wow got a lot of things that people want to throw him at and throw things at him, as opposed to just respecting him for what he's done. So therefore, I feel like when people don't, I know this firsthand, when people don't really give you your just due, you got to keep coming with 100% your best work, right? Mm-hmm. But Bow Wow is, what people don't understand, Bow Wow is the age group of everything that's happening on social media. Mm-hmm. He is that person. Yeah. He's always been that person, but he is directly that audience. So a lot of the arguments that me and Bow Wow have is just like, I'm trying to make sure you do it at a top level and be the best that you could possibly be. And he's like, man, ain't nobody waiting for shit. Da-da-da-da. He don't even really understand what my weight is. It's not a weight. It's a, let's get it right. It's a movement, right? And I think that with all the artists, even the artists that I have on the rap game, I be wanting to do certain things with them, and they'll put out a record, that night. And I'm like, damn, okay, well, wait a minute. Like, so yeah, it's definitely harder because the artists don't understand artist development not one bit.
Do you think they also just want that gratification, like the immediate response that you get now? Because now you put out a record, and you used to have to wait for radio to validate records. Now records could just connect to the people without that.
Yeah, totally. They definitely want the gratification, and then they deal with, because this generation, we allowed this generation to create, tweet, and delete. Like, that shit shouldn't even exist. Like, for real, you shouldn't be able to delete it. If you put it out there, you should deal with it.
It stays on the record.
You should be able to deal with what happens. But we live in a generation now where somebody can say the craziest shit they want to say right now and delete it, and everybody forget about it. Right? So that's how they feel. Like, artist development, I feel like when you put a record out and it's whack, that's the stain that's on you. But these kids don't feel like that. They feel like, shit, that's just one record. Right. I'm gonna put out 10 more by the end of the week. Right?
Yeah, nobody will remember that.
Yeah, nobody remembers. So that's what I think. That's what it is. They don't feel like you can. They don't feel like they can be wrong. They feel like they can fix it within 2 days. I still don't believe that. Yeah. I believe if I hear a whack record by you, you whack. Yeah. That's just it. And then you gotta take some time to get yourself right. I'm not gonna change my feelings in 3 days.
When you hear a record that you've done on the radio, even though it's successful, are there things that you want to tweak still?
Oh, 100%. Even after it's done? Totally. Yeah, all the time. Like, I still to this day don't feel like my records have ever sounded sonically like Teddy Riley's records ever. Like, I could hear one of my records on the radio and hear "Do You Remember" by Michael Jackson and be like, what the fuck was they doing? Like,
that's amazing.
Why I ain't never figured this out? And a lot of times I'm thinking, like, maybe it's because I'm in Atlanta and the people ain't had the right equipment, or I ain't had the right shit, and maybe I should have moved to LA when people was telling me, or maybe I should have hung out in New York a little bit. I mean, and I might be 100% right, by the way, because sometimes it's places that are much more up to this sonic level than other places. I mean, they sound good enough to put out, but it might not sound competitive to me. I remember Kanye said this one day. He was trying to do, what song was it he did? The song where he samples Daft Punk. What is it?
Stronger. Yeah, he kept messing with the drums.
Yeah, he kept messing with the drums. He kept messing with the drums on Stronger, and then he went to Timbaland.
Yep.
Like, Kanye is a beat maker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when you feel like you can't
get that sound,
that shit ain't hitting. You gotta go to your competitor and be like, yo, put a beat on this, man. Just give me a kick or something. It's just not, it don't sound like I want it. that's what I go to a lot of that. And when I saw him do that, I'm like, this is natural. I'm not the only person.
Yeah, it's interesting. I see like a lot of times now you see like a lot of the younger Atlanta producers, they collab a lot to be a record where it's Metro Boomin, Southside, all these different names in one. How do you think that works? I mean, I know you had a period where No ID sort of came back under you. Like, what do you make of like so many collaborations now in production?
I mean, I think that, what you see with them guys, one person does something different than the other person, and I think that's why they do it. Same thing with me and when me and No ID was doing it. No ID completely produces totally different than me.
Yeah.
And what me and No ID could do is sit right here at this table, and he'll make a beat, and I'll write the song. Right. That's basically what we could do as producer and songwriter. I can write the whole song, you write a beat, and then or you get a sample and I start listening to the sample and I could take that and I figure out what I want to do with it. Or I could tell him, I heard this sample, chop this up. When you get it chopped, let me know, then I'm ready to write the song. So we that's how we worked. He had a lot of things with him that I wasn't really, the way he chopped records is just stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's way different than me. I had a conversation with him the other night at Catch about how he did this J album. Like the things that he's doing on there, he's throwing samples like guitars, like just I'm gonna just use this part one time. Damn. Yeah. And the only other person I know that was doing it like that was Hank Shockley and the Bomb Squad. They'll just play a piece that don't never come back on the Public Enemy record. I'm like, why y'all ain't? What the fuck y'all?
You
was
couldn't
doing?
even clear that in this era, because
I mean, they was ill with it.
Yeah, because people really realized that was he was kind of in a dry period of his career, right? In that era with you, where you kind of took him under So Def, or make it the Bow Wow, I guess Let Me Love You was the big one.
Yeah, what I mean, that was his first #1 record, by the way. So I'm happy that that happened with me, because it feels, at least I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that happened historically, not just with me. It happened to other people with inside of this whole So Def 25.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The other part is the business side of it. Like, people don't realize at first that Scooter Braun was down with the team. Yeah. He ended up becoming this big mogul person, but it seemed like I saw an interview where he was saying it just got to some type of falling out. Like,
I don't think it was a falling out. I think it was more or less about, well, I mean, he said it was something with him and my mom. I wasn't even at the office, but I still feel like Scooter was ambitious, very ambitious when I saw him, and he wanted to be out here, just period. It wasn't gonna be. It was gonna be something. If it wasn't that, it was gonna be something that led him to not being held down by. If he felt like he was held down, I remember one day, I was in Malibu. And it was like some holiday weekend, like 4th of July, something like that. And it was me and Janet in Malibu, and somebody called the house and was like, yo, it's a party down the street, and it's this white guy that's trying to get in, and he keeps throwing your names around. And I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, he keeps saying, yo, I work for blah, 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 blah. Janet Jackson, Jermaine Dupri, I need to be in here. And it was Scooter. And that day I realized, yo, this dude he's good. He's good at what he's doing, but he don't want to. He's gonna. He
want to be his own.
Yeah,
thing.
He's a go guy.
You look at it kind of like an Andre Harrell Puffy thing, like
like that. I mean, you always gonna have conflict with somebody, but I feel like me and him, we the best friends. He just called me yesterday. It's like we just. He was supposed to do what he's doing, right. And I wouldn't even feel. I would feel bad if he wasn't, because I saw so much potential in him from the beginning. So what I see him doing now is what I saw he was supposed to be headed down that road a long time ago.
I can see JD writing some Bieber smashes, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I was that was actually the idea in the beginning. But then a lot of times, I mean, maybe it was me. A lot of times I'd be shying away from doing kids prior to the rap game, right? Yeah. Because I feel like I'd get so much flack for doing it. And I don't do a lot, but I mean, I wasn't anyway. And people was just like, so sometimes I'd be like, man,
that's a label they give you.
I'm not doing that. I'm going to just go over here and try to do something else, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's me just being, that was me being just like ignoring it. I got away from that now. I'm like, fuck it. If you think I make kid art is good, you don't, I'm going to do it.
Right. The same thing you saw in Scooter, is that what you saw in Little John? He was your A&R for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Talk about that and having him on board.
Yeah, so the Lil Jon situation, last night I won the Breaking Barriers Awards at the Global Spin.
Congrats on that.
Thank you. And the thing about it was that when I made a record, every time I made a record, I was 17, 18. Well, no, 19 years old when I was making Crisscross. So then once I started making Escape records, I still was just 21. I wasn't drinking. I didn't know much about the clubs. But all I knew was that at a club, the person who you got to get the music to is the DJ, right? So I used to go to this club called the Phoenix in Atlanta, and Little John was the main DJ there. I used to go in there every Friday or whatever it was, and that's the only club that they actually let me get in for free. They let me park my car at the front. I used to feel like I was the man, right? and I go in the club and just stand in the DJ booth all night, and dude just, he'll play the records I brought. And he wasn't asking for money. He wasn't even asking for anything. He was like, what you got? I was like, yo, I got this new remix with Redman and Crisscross. I need you to play it. It's like, Redman and Crisscross. Wow, let me put this on. So, that's another remix that people get, like Tonight, right?
Tonight remix.
So,
with Redman on there.
I would play this remix. I played it for him, and he played it in the club. It was a hip hop club, and he became like the first guy that would get these records. So once I got my label, I was just like, you seem like you got a pretty good ear. You playing music that people like. Nobody seems like they hate you. You seem like you know what's on, what the people want to hear. I want you to be my A&R. He was like, what's an A&R? And I was like, oh, this guy don't even know what an A&R is. He really don't know what's going on. But I didn't care about that. I was just like, don't worry about that. I just want you to be a person that helps me figure out the records that we need to put out the label. And he learned from there. He started understanding it, and the whole So Def Bass All Stars was all Lil Jon's idea. And that was his, his part of
project.
doing. Yeah, he was doing what he was doing at So Def. So he would go, and he came back with the My Boo record. He came back with the What's Up. He came back with all of these records from this bass compilation.
You credit him.
And it was all Lil Jon, Lil Jon doing the A&R job.
He didn't have the persona, right? He wasn't what?
No. It was just a guy in the studio. He had the dreads. They was growing. They had started growing. But he was just a guy that was in the office that all the money people, the finance people, my lawyer, the people at the front desk, they used to complain because his office was, I put him in the basement of this house that we had. We had like a house as the office. And I gave him the biggest speakers that he could possibly have, and his shit sounded like a club coming upstairs. Right. So people was like, Jermaine, what the fuck is this? Like, why are you letting him do this? We trying to operate a business. I'm like, y'all don't even understand where y'all work at. This is a record company. What the fuck you acting like this is that's what I was going through. But John developed himself into, and when he did the Little John and the East Side Boys, that was a side project that he didn't feel like people. He thought I wouldn't have signed it, which I was mad. I'm like, yo, why you ain't? Fuck, you ain't give me this. But he took it to Ichiban thinking that it was too gutter for So Def.
He took it to Ichiban even before TVT.
Yeah.
But were you surprised when he sort of became this also the forefront of it, like as an artist, and the whole what thing took off?
Because I saw it. I saw it. I mean, it was happening in my office. I'm like, yo, this is fucked up. This too. But I never was a guy that was like, yo, you got to do this. I was just like, go ahead, grow. You're growing into something. I thought Ichiban was, Ichiban was an independent label. They couldn't do what we was doing. So I was like, it's only going to go so far. And it went so far that he put them niggas out of business. Like they went bankrupt because they couldn't pay him.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Did you see Destiny's Child becoming what they were? I mean, you wrote on their first album with me.
Yeah.
Like, did you see Beyonce becoming Beyonce early? Did the video? They did everything.
Yeah, because I think that everybody around her has been talking about this since day one. I know for sure Frank Gatson told me one day that she was gonna be big as Michael Jackson. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, she's going to be big as Michael Jackson. And I was like, all right. And he's been, I think the people around her, they've been on that page since day one. I mean, I actually never saw the separation when I worked with them. I didn't see that they felt like a group when they came to do that song. But as time went on, I saw, like when we did the Jumpin' remix the first time I put Bow on that, I could tell that Beyonce was moving in this space.
Can you talk about how you first connected with Mariah and then what you added to her career and her legacy?
At first I didn't think nothing. I didn't think I was adding anything. I just thought that, I was a producer. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because the song that I said this, Michelle Obama, she put the song on her
together,
playlist, and I'm like, out of all the songs in the world, it's a zillion songs out there. She picked one of my songs. That's crazy. And I said that because a lot of people still don't understand that song I produced. Like, people be like, they know we belong together because the way it sounds with the 808s and this, that, and the third. But if I just do music like I know how to do, and it's not really heavily hip hop, I don't think people be paying attention to that I did it. You know what I'm saying? So that song didn't really give me no producer credit. I got paid. It was a big record. But
big check.
It was a big record. It was a big,
to be a big record.
One of the biggest records ever in my catalog. But as far as respect go, I don't remember ever doing interviews about that song. You know what I'm saying? Always Be My Baby. I don't remember nobody calling me from a radio station saying, Jermaine, you killed it with that song. Like, it was like nothing. But then
you think because her persona maybe overshadows it, so they think almost like, because she doesn't sometimes get credit because she wrote a lot of her stuff.
Yeah, all of it.
Well, yeah, so it's like
I just think that I know with me, if people didn't hear me say, y'all know what this is at the beginning of the record, people don't even believe I did it. They start crediting other people. Like, I remember Clue, somebody asked me, they was like, yo, who did that Hate in the Blood beat?
Oh, man. That's one of my favorites on the Instructions
See, look,
album.
that's one of his favorite songs, right?
I like that.
Don't the streets, don't say nothing to JD. They be trying to credit other people with the Hate in Your Blood beat. Like, yo, who did that beat? And I'm like,
that beat is hard.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Who did it? And it's like, well, you ain't talking on it. You ain't saying nothing. And I'm like, oh, man, come on.
That's not it. No, remember we put the title list to the pen game of the songs, and somebody came in saying some slick shit. JD hit him back on Twitter, hating your blood.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm saying that's what it is. It is what it is, man. But I be doing that to just try to see if they even understand what I'm saying. I'm not like, it's fun, but I'm just saying, like, I wrote that song for that type of reaction. Like, you say something about me, you got hate in your blood. That's what it is.
That's a great record.
It's timeless.
I saw you tweeted, you said the last night was the first time you cried watching your artist perform and thinking to yourself, I signed some real fucking talent. Which artist was that in particular?
Well, so at the Trumpet Awards 2 weeks ago.
We on a war tour.
Yeah,
right?
war tour. Yeah, I'm on a war tour. So the Trumpet Awards, like 2 weeks ago, Anthony Hamilton performed, Escape performed, Bow Wow performed, and Ludacris. But Ludacris is not my artist. But those three artists came out and performed as a tribute to me getting that award. And just watching them go from Anthony to Bow Wow to Escape. And the way that they sound, each one of them sound just like the record. No matter Bow Wow was rapping or Anthony, but like when I listen to Anthony Hamilton, I'm like, I can't believe that nobody else wanted to sign this dude. Like, I'm not the first person on the planet, so I can't be the first person he talked to. It's got to be somebody else. Matter of fact, he was signed to Uptown before, so Andre Harrell understood what was going on. But the fact that I got an opportunity to say that, and I got opportunity to be the house where his first platinum album came from, and people got his most recognition came from So Def. Yeah, that touched my soul. Like, I'm like, it becomes more than just like a bragging point. It's like, damn, I actually saw something that really meant something to the world. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not even like, because I didn't create Anthony Hamilton.
I was gonna say a lot of the music was self-contained, right? It wasn't like you putting your hands on every single thing.
Yeah, I didn't create him. He came. I saw him and was like, you are fucking star. Like, who you are, don't shave, just be like you are, just sing. And the world agreed with me saying that. And that's one of the hardest things to do in the music industry, is just to find somebody that you don't have to touch, that you believe in what you see and you put it out and it works and people really respond. That's the real reward in A&R and finding and discovering talent.
Yeah. Right. Which leads to reality shows now and stuff like. Why is the reality hustle now? Why does the reality hustle work for you? It seems like the rap game is on like 4th, 5th season.
We're going to 5th season in March. Yes.
But you're proud of it, right? Like, it's not. It doesn't seem like any type of exploitative reality show type of thing. It seems like it's coming from a genuine place.
Yeah,
and like,
I think that, not to cut you off, I think that it's the fact that people don't know what I've done. They don't know what I do. People, like I said, people hear about it, but they don't know. They just think that, okay, I heard Brian Cox was in the studio. I heard this person. And they are in the studio. We all are working as collectively to get these songs to the best place that they be. But you don't understand the process of, I found Dondria on YouTube, right? I called Dondria on you, and she hung up on me and was like, is this a joke? I took that like, oh, okay, that's supposed to happen. I called her back and said, listen, this is not a joke. This is Jermaine Dupri. I want you to come to Atlanta. I want to sign you. I want to do a song. That process nobody ever sees, right? So to put that on TV, people sit there and watch that like, yo, she hung up on him, or she don't, you know what I mean? So if I'm on TV and I have my track record and it's a parent and their mom telling me, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. Me and my daughter been doing shows at the mall. Like, what? What are you talking about right now?
Right.
And that's the challenges that sometimes I get, which becomes funny and people want to watch it. At first I was kind of like, nah, I'm not with this. But then I realized, Jermaine, it's yours. This is not, some of this stuff that's out here is things that God give you by yourself, nobody else. So I was looking around to see who else shared these type of moments. And I'm like, I'm the only person that people look at as the guy who will deal with parents and their kids. And people think I've been doing it since I did with Criss, but Criss was the only group I ever did that to throughout the whole 90s to 2000. Like, people don't even believe that. Like, they think that I was working with kids from 92, 94, 96. They don't look at Brat was 19. Jagged Edge was of age. Escape was older than that. You know what I mean? They don't look at that. They just think he's the guy to make kids. All right, well, if that's what you think.
You learn to embrace it in some sense.
If that's what you think, then I'm going to embrace it, I
guess the success was just so big that, everyone else kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
But it is, but at the same time, it's like the Brat is like, female rapper only the first platinum.
Right.
You can stop talking about Criss for a second and let's focus on this. Like, you know how hard that was? Like, that shit was hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it is what it is. I just said, here's a TV show. It landed, and it actually is one that I don't feel like only person can fuck up the rap game is me. Right? Because it's all my show. They depend on me to bring the artists, have the guests on there. Like, tonight I got Tiana Taylor on the show. Like, and be able to do things like that. Like, I had the Migos on the show before the Migos had this boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have, I got an opportunity to do things like that. Like, I got Zaytoven as a reoccurring guy on this season.
That's dope.
I let him show people that he can make these beats in 5 minutes in the studio. So he did a beat for each one of the kids on the show. And they actually showed that on the TV. And I'm like, where else is this happening at? We don't have Yo MTV Raps no more. We don't have The Basement. We got this. We got y'all podcast. But that's it as far as hip-hop goes, showing people things, right? Yeah. And I feel like if I'm giving back to the culture with this show, I'm able to give back to the cultures a lot with this show.
So that's why you keep going with it,
right?
Like, you probably didn't intend to be on your 4th or 5th season.
No, definitely. I never thought that would even happen. Like, 5 seasons? That's crazy.
But do you think syndication money?
But see, even that, like, syndication has changed now that we got this streaming shit. It's a different thing. Like, it's a different thing. I think you got to go like 10 seasons or something to get syndication.
But do you feel like that it hurts the game when you compartmentalize kids from, I guess, the adult rappers? Like, because at the end of the day, it's all rap. Like, when Bow Wow first came out with Bounce, even though, he was a kid, but he was rapping like an adult.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So does it, I guess, throw a monkey wrench into it?
I mean, it's a hard question to answer because every artist that's popping on these social platforms, their name is Little something.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm like I was getting dissed for this type of stuff. Little this,
right.
JD, stop it. Now every artist that comes out is Little Pump, Little Perv, little Weed, Little this, whatever, and it's popping. Like, these artists are shit that people really paying attention to,
right.
And they young, right? These kids are really young, and it's like, I'm like, well, shit. If this is what's going on in the game, really kills me when I see people say something like, Jermaine, you're not relevant. How am I? I'm the most relevant person on TV.
Right.
If the game is at a kid level now where everybody got to be super young, right? I'm the most relevant person that you could possibly talk to because I'm directly in the shit with these kids that are telling me, JD, you too old to be, you don't know, we on this. This what we doing.
This our new wave.
This is our new wave. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm learning this. I'm learning this on my show. Let's keep this. Let's make sure you remember this. This is not somebody else's show. I was just told on my TV show that I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that I'm out of touch. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I think it's a weird thing because like I said, I'm actually, I'm actually putting the people that's in front of the world. I mean, I'm putting people in front of the world that are actually dictating what's actually happening in front of the world now.
Speaking of perception of relevancy, do you feel like there's a part of JD that you have to do everything you can to help a Bow Wow be looked at as relevant in this climate, or Usher to have the big comeback? Like, what is your viewpoint on those type of acts who like have had such great success? Now everybody's doubting them that they could ever really create those type of moments again.
I feel like that. I don't think they feel like that. You know what I mean? They don't as artists. I don't think they understand that. I feel like that because I feel like this is like Star Wars. If you don't see the Millennium Falcon, you feel like the war's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this might be going over people's head and they don't know what I'm talking about. But
it's good though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like, I've always known Chewbacca and Han Solo to be a part of what Luke is trying to do. So how is Luke going to war and they not gonna come save him in the next 20 minutes after he's getting ready to get his ass kicked, right? Like, it's just like the thing that's happening. So it's like, to me, I feel like, yeah, when you start dissing Bow Wow, you say whatever you want to say about Usher, go ahead. But just know that I'm coming with the Millennium Falcon, and I'm gonna bring what they need for you to shut up. That's my mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I have a story that I don't know if I told y'all this last time, but one of my stories that I probably didn't tell is that I was on the phone with Michael Jackson and damn, I just went blank. Rodney Jerkins.
Yeah.
Rodney Jerkins and Michael Jackson was doing the Rock My World album, right? And me and Usher was working on 8701, right? And it was a friend of mine named Brian P. that would go talk to Rodney, and they would have these JD D-Dot conversations about, B-Dot. They would. He said so many bad things about me. I'm just fucking around. No, they would have these back and forth conversations about Jermaine being good and this person being better. And
he's cooking up a Michael Jackson album?
Yeah, why they cooking up this album? So supposedly there was like this, it's always been competitive, competitive world. Rodney Jerkins making records, I'm making mine. But then it was like, okay, Jermaine is doing Usher, Rodney Jerkins doing Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
We doing these records. We doing these records at the same time. Supposedly these albums are coming out at the same time, right? And we get a phone call one night, and it's Rodney Jerkins on the phone. He calls me, and I pick up, and he's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "What y'all working on?" He's like, "Man, listen, we got a song that'll kill everything y'all in the studio doing."
Wow.
And I was like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" So then I put the phone on speaker, and I'm like, "Usher, listen to what they talking about." And Usher was like, "What? What do you mean?" So then Michael got on the phone, and Rodney was like, Jermaine's down in Atlanta working with Usher. And Michael said, "Who?" And I had the phone on speaker, and Michael Jackson said, "Who?"
Wow.
To Usher. I was like, oh shit. So at that particular point in time, I was like, I just got really mad. Like, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, but I got really, really mad. Like, I'm like, yo.
I'm gonna date your sister.
I was like, no, listen. Fuck it, man. Let's go to war with these guys. Let's go to war. So I went and threw my gun out there. Like, yo, I said, you know what? We just did a song tonight that'll kill every song y'all just made for this whole album. And that song was You Got It Bad. I really felt like that. Like, without even this whole story, but I really felt like that. And I was just like, yeah, y'all gonna see. You gonna see who got the biggest song, and
wow,
you know, I let y'all tell who got the biggest song. You Got It Back was definitely bigger than Rock My World.
And you said, yeah, it was.
Let that breathe for a minute. Let that breathe for a minute.
I'm just saying, like,
You Got It Bad was
even with Jigga on the remix, it couldn't beat it. Couldn't beat it.
It was a good song. It wasn't. I mean, it was a great record. I'm not even taking. I mean, it was like I said. But at the same time, I'm glad they did that because like I needed that type of. I need that type of stuff in my life. You know what I mean? It's a motivation.
Yeah, is that what drives you?
It drives me, and I feel like
you're the underappreciated legend or the one that doesn't get the accolade.
Yeah,
right?
so and like I said, all of that stuff is make me have to make what I make be the shit, right? It's not, you know, I done put out records that don't work. I'm not scared of that. But 99 times out of the chance they gonna be a record that I put out is going to the top. It's just that's just because I feel like I have so many people like, no, he ain't this don't work, he make this, and I'm thinking all of that when I'm making a record. So I'm in such a competitive mode when I'm in the studio. I'm trying to make the best record I could possibly make every time.
But you're 20 in, so like, why are you still so driven? Like, what do you feel there's a time when you'd want to cool out and not be as involved, or like, do you don't see yourself doing that?
I feel like I still feel like, you know, I still feel like I want to be number one. On, you know what I mean? Like, I posted the interview with Johnny J. I don't do this to be second. Like he said, I'm not doing this to be. I'm not doing this to be on his list at the bottom of this.
We're going to get to the list.
I'm not doing this to be on the bottom of his list. I want to be, I mean, you know, I'll take top 5, but I'm not trying to be lower than that on nobody's list. So if I'm not there, I'm going to get there. That's my attitude. I'm going to get there. And I continue to keep understanding that the person that I look up to the most as a producer, Quincy Jones.
You said he's the master.
He's the master. By the way, he had the best interview.
I was gonna say, I can't wait till you're 85 doing that interview.
This is the best interview I heard ever. Cause he's keeping it 100. I think we in an environment where people don't just keep it 100.
Right.
Like for real.
You shouted out Luda and you said you fuck with Luda because Luda's always kept it 100.
Oh yeah,
with you.
Ludacris keeps it 100 with me all the time. If he don't know something, he'll say it. Yo, I don't know this, JD. Let's talk about this, right? You don't have many people do that. It's a lot of people that lie and act like they know stuff. Like like if you don't know something, ask. You know what I mean? Like, what type of mics was y'all using when y'all did that interview? I want one of them at my studio. People won't ask that question, but you want this mic.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll try to act like you smart enough to know what this is when you ain't even never seen it before. Just ask. Like, you ain't gonna ready. I'm not gonna shit on you because you asked me what type of mic I use for an interview. You know what I'm saying? It's just like stuff like that. And I just feel like Quincy, no matter how we feel about what he said or anybody else, he's telling his truth. Yeah. That's amazing to me.
Right. You mentioned Usher earlier.
5 minutes left. You know it's JD, man. He's very busy.
I know. You got
a tight schedule, man.
Okay. I just want to know. You say you're working on a new Usher album. You say you're trying to make a statement with it. What kind of statement are you trying to make?
Well, no, he wants to make a statement.
Okay.
He wants to make a statement as far as like he wants his music to really mean something to the people. Okay. You know, I think that artists are, you know, him being in that mindset. That's where artists are today. I saw, you know, I woke up this morning to come here and I saw that Drake had posted a link for his video. In his video, he's giving people money and walking around doing things that people will remember more than they're gonna remember the song, right? I believe people gonna remember that this video. I saw Drake do something that I know I am. I'm like, I see Drake doing something. I ain't never even think that Drake was on that type of vibe, right? You know, and he looked like a regular new rapper. Like he not trying to be flashy. He's just like, I'm out here, I'm hanging out with people, I'm kicking it, and it's a statement in that. You know what I mean? Yeah. The song is called God's Plan, but at the same time, it's a statement in the title as well as it's a statement in his movement, and that's what I mean. I think Usher wants that. He wants to not just make, you know, I'm fucking you tonight records. He just want to make, right. You know, he wants to make records that mean something to people and they take it and take that with them, down the road.
Right.
So was your role with someone like him is like because you're so driven, are you constantly trying to motivate him? Like, let's get in the studio. Like, how do you manage that situation?
I mean, I always feel like Usher's probably more motivated to make music. I won't say more motivated, but he's always pushing to make records. But where we want to go is sometimes a lot in a different space. Like, he might want to do a record like this and want me to make the record, but I'm like, yo, you should make a record like this because I feel like this is what's missing, right? So even like when I saw Bruno, when I saw people respond to what Bruno's doing, I'm like, yo, it's like 10 records I try to get Usher to do that feel like records that Usher would have done prior that now feel like records that Bruno Mars is doing. Yeah. I'm like, yo, if people are receptive to this, we should have been did this. And then Usher's like, nah, man, let's do something else. And so we have that type of conversation. But I mean, we ultimately come to a place, I just write a song and play it and then he like, like You Make Me Wonder, that's why I say You Make Me Wonder. He didn't like the song. He was like, that song ain't it. Right. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So then I went and played the song for LA, and LA was like, we shooting a video. I'm like, okay, I told you this was the song, right? So I mean, it's just we, each artist, we have a different type of situation. Yeah.
Let's get to the list before we get out of here.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So last time we had the argument, I said Jermaine Dupri is not a top 10 rap producer of all time. Jermaine Dupri threatened to kill me.
He said he's just gonna call you D-Dot for the rest of your life instead of B-Dot.
But anyway, I have Dr. Dre, Timbaland, Kanye, Just Blaze, RZA, Manny Fresh, Bsides, Primo, Neptunes. In the 10, I go Havoc, Trackmasters, Pete Rock, or Hitman. It's like a 4-way tie.
So JD hasn't moved up on your list yet?
Still not there yet.
Lies,
I'm sorry.
Man, lies.
Come on,
None
man.
of those gentlemen are on Songwriters Hall of Fame like Jay-Z is.
We talk about rap producers, that's all.
See, and that's what I'm saying. This is what I want everybody who was watching this to understand. Listen, so what that does make me think that I need to go make a rap album with somebody that probably ain't going to be like the most successful rapper, but they'll be critically acclaimed, and then I'll probably get on his list. Because you talking about people who only got like 2-3 albums to their name.
We're just talking about producers that's for rap.
Yeah, but
hip-hop.
you just said that Hate in Your Blood was one of your favorites.
It is.
And then Money Ain't Thing is one of your favorites.
It's
I know.
definitely one of them.
I'm sure I could keep rattling off.
We have a lot too.
I'm sure
he loves Life in 1472.
I'm sure I could keep. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure I could rattle off more rap records that you would. I'm telling you, the B-side. Come on, man.
Top 15.
Whoa! Listen. I'm gonna say this. That's what I need.
It stays driven, yeah.
Give me that. When people ask me what's going, B-Dot is the reason why it's getting ready to be so much fire in y'all's face because
you're gonna be Quincy doing the crazy Enemy 85, but you still gotta have a hit record on the charts.
Yeah, I was saying that. I'm sorry, I didn't cut my thought. What I was saying about Quincy Jones is that Quincy Jones created Thriller at 50.
That's crazy.
I have 5 more years
Yeah.
to get to that place.
So is your Songwriter Hall of Fame speech going to be like Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame speech where you just call motherfuckers out?
No, I'm not.
I mean, before we go out, that's my final question because, last year with Jay, he actually had the twins, so he couldn't even attend the event.
Yeah.
I know you're excited. What's that event going to be like to you, and do you have a speech prepared? Do you have an idea what you're going to say?
No, I'm trying to figure out who's gonna
induct you.
Yeah,
too,
who's
right?
gonna give me my award. I think that's really important for this. I heard that everybody's bringing out these power hitters.
Yeah.
Ain't no telling who from Cool from Cool in the Game.
Cool in the Game.
They have
John
that
Mellencamp.
might be so crazy. Like they might bring out something crazy, and I'm just trying to figure. I want to make sure I want to make sure I got somebody crazy to bring out and help my situation. But no, I'm not gonna say. What I will say is that to all the people that have, like I said, this list, people that don't put me in the place that I feel like I'm supposed to be, I'm glad because you're not lying. We live in a world where people won't tell the artists that they like the truth these days, right? So I'm saying people, they tell me the truth, right? I think he's being completely 100% honest. He's not doing the joke. That's how he feels. I feel like I should be on his list, and I'm gonna get on there. So what you're saying is gonna make me do what I gotta do. That's and that's what I'm gonna say in my thing. I'm just want to make sure that people out there understand all of that stuff and the truth that I hear about me and whatever they want to say. It's just made me. It just fuels my fire. It makes me want to make like when I go in the studio and I do a remix. I'm like, okay, this record's cool the way it is, but how can I kill the producer who did it originally? For real, I'm trying to do something where you don't even remember the fact that somebody else made Sleeping in Your Bed. Who was the producer who made that song originally? You don't know, right?
I remember, I'll make you dance. I'll make you move.
And by the way, I could put Grills.
Grills is the number one.
Part free.
Nelly Grills wasn't
It was a number one record.
Oh my God!
I'm ready for part free.
And we didn't create an epidemic with this. Oh man, okay.
That's part 3.
The Songwriters Hall of Fame, Jermaine Dupri.
Can I get a ticket? Can we come?
Yeah. Well, I was. hold on. Listen. I'm not gonna sound like if I say this, people will be like, "Well, you got money." No. Listen, they just told me. She just told me the other day that the tables at this dinner is the table alone is $15,000 a table. It's like going
to the stunners. It's like going to come out. Get Janet.
This is like going to live or something on Sunday. This is crazy. Nah, but I mean, if I figure out a ticket, I want everybody to see this. It's not televised, and it's like a once in a lifetime thing. So
I'm gonna crash it.
Yeah. You crashed last year's, I think.
Oh yeah, I was there, right?
JD, man, congrats again,
Thank you.
Always a great interview, also.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rap Radar Podcast.
We out here.
Yo, JD's 85-year-old interview is gonna be.
That's gonna be great.